It is 52 weeks live. I am pulled over on the side of the road. Hi, Charlotte. Ugh, so happy. So many friends. Hi, Gregory. Hi, Fati. Oh, okay. William Lee. This is a wonderful William Lee who is joining us today. And I cannot wait to see him. Hi! Oh my God, I know
Hi,
I'm so close up, but I'm propping it on the steering wheel.
where are you?
I am, I don't know. Just,
Are you
I'm just in a car.
driving?
No, I'm not driving. I'm pulled over. But I
Who
would,
po-
hey, Blitzer, I would like you to know that for passersby, I just put on fake lashes for you. And
Oh,
people, I think, are disturbed. It's magnetic eyeliner and a magnet eyelash. And
shut
it's
up.
for you. And it's for you. Okay. Hi, darling. Whew.
Wow.
Um, I would like to, I mean, everybody knows who you are. William Lee, amazingness. Everyone knows also from 52 from the Post. How are you doing? You are extremely busy. We have a lot to talk about.
I'm well. I have been busy. I've been outside of, I left New York City on March 8th, and I've been sequestering up here in upstate New York in Columbia County since then. Um,
Cooking.
been cook, cook, cooking way too much.
Yeah. I saw your
Uh,
Guac post and I understood. I have door dashed McDonald's a few times because we couldn't face it.
it's just like last night, I couldn't take out another skillet or a pan or anything. I mean, even making guacamole was a bit of work. But and I ate it standing at the counter. I was full on lazy yesterday. Um,
I still don't think that's full on lazy. I think the McDonald's DoorDash was, but um, how are Archie and Max? Your beautiful
Archie and
whippet.
Max are adorable. Archie and Max are my our two whippets. They are super cute. Max is going to be 6 months next week, and Archie's going to
What?
be a year old.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know. You.
I'm
I mean,
very
we
confused.
don't need to get to sad stories, but
Yeah,
Monty, who you knew, Alexa and I lived in the same building for many, many, many years.
until you
Um,
abandoned me.
yeah, until I abandoned you. Monty passed away in January, and
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, so we have a new pack now.
No, and
Yeah,
you are the alpha. Oh, and
James
I
is
just got
actually
a
the
dog.
alpha.
And I just
James,
got a dog.
yes, I know.
Yes. Do
Do
you believe it?
your fans who are watching this know about your sweet little dog?
Nobody knows about our
So
sweet little
let's
puppy.
talk about your sweet little puppy. Remind me of
No,
his name.
no,
Oh,
we will
okay.
not be
Oh,
talking about. We are talking about you, William Lee.
okay.
Thanks
Okay.
for thanks for trying to
Okay.
redirect. Okay, so you have so many things going on. I have been binge watching Lucky Chow, which for
Yes.
everybody, it's on PBS. It's amazing, and it is airing now. But
It
if
is
you
airing now.
want to see them in a binge, you go to the Lucky Chow website.
Yes. So they have started to air on PBS stations around the country,
Yeah.
and depending on what city you're in, they PBS, unlike network television, it airs at different times. But if you want to binge, you can go to luckychow.org and watch all
Who
six
doesn't want
episodes.
to?
Um,
It's wonderful, and
Thank
you've
you.
always been such a. I mean, cooking is a huge part of your life, as and your cooking dovetails in beautifully with your design background, which is also vast because everything you cook looks beautiful. I can't vouch for how it tastes, but it looks tastes good.
Thank you. I try to make it pretty. As I say in restaurants, chefs say make it soigné. It's
Uh-huh.
like it needs to look elegant on the plate. I mean, I think that's part of the eating experience, right? The looking down
For sure.
and seeing how everything is plated. I mean, nothing's ever. I don't use tweezers. I haven't reached
Right.
that level yet. But I do try to make it pretty. And the show is a nice mix of, you know, us visiting chefs, Asian American chefs in their kitchens, but then also makers, farmers, people like that, and
Yeah.
telling these incredible Asian American stories through the lens of food, which has been really, really
When
great.
when you went to the Formosa, is it just the Formosa, or is there?
Now it's called well, people refer to it as the Formosa, but I think it's called the Formosa Cafe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how I feel about grammar. I need to
Yeah.
know, like, what article are we using? Okay, so definite. The Formosa Cafe.
Uh-huh.
To see which is beautifully designed,
Yeah.
and that train car attached to it has beautiful silver screen images of
Yes.
Asian actors. And
Yes.
you were really moved to be surrounded by this wealth of talent
Yeah.
of people who looked like you.
Yeah. Totally.
And
I mean, I have a few goosebumps even when you're talking about it, because the thing is, before I went to Formosa Cafe, I mean, I'd always known that there were Hollywood, Asians in Hollywood back in the day, but
yeah, not just Peter Sellers.
right, not, or Mickey Rooney,
Oh, that's who I.
as
Oh, that's
whatever
really
his
bad.
character's name is.
Yeah,
And I mean, watching that now, it's a little cringeworthy, but
a little. It was cringeworthy 20
it's
years
true.
ago. Now it's disturbing.
Yeah, it's very disturbing, but Hollywood, like a lot of other industries, wasn't the most diverse place throughout its history. But in the Formosa, there are this incredible film historian called Arthur Dong,
Hmm.
who's up in San Francisco. He curated this exhibition, so it's part restaurant, but then really a part historical retrospective of actors, stuntmen, directors, writers, and all the Asian Americans. And he kind of organize the photography chronologically, and you see all of this rich Asian American history in Hollywood, which I never knew existed. And I don't know if did you see that Ryan Murphy production TV show called Hollywood?
No, that you told me about it the other day, or
It's
you were texting something.
it's incredible. It's actually, I recommend it to everyone. I mean, it's so beautifully done.
Hmm.
But one of the main characters, it's sort of like a rewritten, reimagined history of what Hollywood could have been if
Hmm.
people were a little bit more sensitive to the issues at the time. And one of the main,
Humanity.
exactly,
Yeah.
and one of the main characters is Susie May Wong. Is that her name? That's she was the only Asian actress that was getting big roles in Hollywood at the time, and she was continued, like, she had one role and then she was passed over and over and over for Academy
Wait,
Awards, etc.
somebody is saying something is wrong. Alexa, you guys are not in the screen.
In black,
Can
really?
you? Can you? I can see you.
I can see you. Who can see us?
Anybody can see us? I can see us.
People are hearting, which means they can probably see us.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody can see us, right?
Nikita,
Okay.
can you see us? Nikki, can you see us? Yeah, everyone can see us.
Okay.
Sorry, you're on the screen. Great.
Okay.
Okay.
And we're keeping this. This will be safe, so people will be able to see you later.
Yeah.
So you were saying, and she was passed.
Yeah, she was passed over, and and I mean, I don't want to give the whole series
Sure.
away, because
Okay.
everyone should
Yeah.
really watch it. But it's a complete reimagination of what Hollywood could
Yeah.
have been. It's sort of the anti-Weinstein, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. People can dream. Oh,
Exactly.
Susie Wong and Anna May Wong.
Yes,
Yeah,
Anna
Anna
May
May
Wong.
Wong.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so here you are, and it's so funny. You've been a major figure in design for a long time, and it's so much fun to now talk about this new chapter, but
Yeah.
on TV, and it's not new because you've always been food obsessed, and a travel whore.
Hmm.
and a
Totally.
gossip.
Yeah.
So this kind of show format is perfect for you.
Yeah.
But tell me about how you got into design, because I know that I heard you say that your mother, or that you felt that you would have been loved if you had been an accountant, a lawyer, or a
Oh
doctor,
God.
which is, by the way, what I've told my kids.
Yeah.
Like, feel free. But how did you veer towards design?
It was kind of
So
like
you grew up, you're a New Yorker, you're a
New
native New
Yorker,
Yorker,
grew up
you
in
grew up in
Chinatown.
Chinatown.
So I went to college and majored in art history. I tried the thing. I tried the accounting thing. It didn't really work out
Yeah,
for
what were
me.
you thinking?
I know. Anything to please mom, right?
Aw.
But I ended up studying art history. When I graduated, none of the jobs that were being offered to art history majors within galleries or auction houses would pay the bills. So I ended up going into advertising.
Right.
And through advertising, I discovered the world of magazines. And I did advertising for a couple of years, but then I landed at magazines. And my first job in magazines was a magazine that you probably remember as a child, because your dad probably got it. It was called Colonial Homes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we still have uh, old issues in Southampton.
Yeah. So Colonial Homes magazines, where I got my start in magazines, but really where I got my start in design. And I was a junior sales rep. I sold
Mhm.
advertising for Colonial Homes, and I did that for a year and worked with some great people, including Robert Ruffino, who was there at the
Right, right.
time.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
I
This
didn't
was
know he
in
was there.
1993. And then I went to House Beautiful, where I stayed for a year. And then Condé Nast was relaunching House and Garden, the
Right.
second relaunch after sort of HG, and then it
After
closed,
HG, yeah.
and then it came back. And I ended up going to House and Garden, where I spent 5 years on the ad side, eventually becoming the associate publisher. And through that, I really fell in love. I'd always loved magazines, but I think more
And obviously you
specifically,
have the art history background. What
yes.
period of art history had you focused on?
Oh, well, I really love the American Impressionists.
Oh, yeah.
Sargent, Cassatt, people like that. But I
Cassatt
love,
is American?
yeah.
Mary
Isn't she?
Cassatt.
Yeah.
Is she? Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm going to art history hell. Shh. This didn't happen. This conversation didn't happen.
Yeah.
Daddy, don't judge.
Well, you thought she was French?
I did. I
No.
see her and I imagine her in my head and I just see a fence. I always see
Yeah.
like a fence
Yeah.
between mother, child, and the out of doors.
Yeah.
So I guess I just thought she was penned in.
Yeah.
But anyway, move along.
So I ended up, not only did I love magazines, but I realized that I loved shelter magazines, design magazines, and I loved everything about the world that you and I and everyone watching this are
Yeah.
obsessed with. The nicest people, an incredible industry, so much creativity. I love people are giving us
And I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Okay, she's American beyond.
But and then from there, I bounced around some to other magazines. I launched a magazine called Men's Vogue at Condé Nast. I launched a business magazine called Portfolio. Then eventually, I jumped over to Ralph Lauren Home, where I headed up.
And what was your? Well, I know you. I know where you ended up.
Yeah.
But where did you begin when you joined the Ralph Lauren universe?
So I was at the time when I joined Ralph. I was at Condé Nast Traveler, and it was sort of at the point where advertising and magazines were kind of starting to feel, seismic shifts. So at that point, I left and joined Ralph. It was a completely wild thing for me to do, because all I had ever known in my life was publishing. But I joined Ralph Lauren Home as the head of PR and marketing. And that
is not an obvious for me. Not all publishers would fill that role.
No. So, the marketing angle a little bit, but I think the PR
right,
thing...
because you know who's going to pay for the ads.
Exactly.
But that's pretty impressive that you made that shift and got the job.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. It was a long interview process. But I think the thing that helped is with the interior design industry, unlike, let's say, fashion, most of the editors that are working today are the same editors that I worked with.
Came up with.
Yeah. So totally. So the ones that are now, editors in chiefs or in very senior roles are people that I grew up with. Like, for instance, so Tori Malott, who's one of the greatest sort of design editors around and who's now at Schumacher. Tori was an intern with me
Yeah.
when I was at the small magazine with Susie Slesson called Homestyle. So, I mean, all of these people, and you see them now, and it really genuinely feels like family, which is
It
great.
does. And
So
it
stepping in,
also, it shows that like everybody was passionate and they stayed in it
yes,
no matter what. You know,
yes,
they're going to be in this world.
exactly, exactly. So it's nice, and I do love that about the design world. It doesn't, it changes a lot, but the characters are pretty much the same.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
They sure are.
I feel like I watched you grow up.
Um, I mean, you watched me have babies. I remember
Yes.
I because we lived in the same building, Pavlos and I, after like right before we had, he didn't carry her. Right before we had Kiki, we got the apartment, the first of two apartments that we connected. I mean, the second apartment, whatever. And it had a back entrance
Yes.
to our combined apartment. So
Yeah.
if I wanted to sneak into the house, or I didn't, I just wanted to go straight into the master suite, I would take your elevator, which is
Yes.
now the elevator our whole family uses.
Yes.
And but my kids were taking the other elevator.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'd creep in after work, put my things away, and then go say hi. And I remember once you pulled me over and you're like, is everything okay with you and Pavlos?
I
Like,
remember
do you
that.
guys live together? I see you over here, but they're over there. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, we're fine. We're fine. I'm hiding from my children. So yes, we have grown up together.
Yes. That's so funny. And that
That's
kooky
right.
building.
That kooky building.
I miss
My
everyone.
other neighbor is leaving. Yeah, you shouldn't have left. You're such a quitter.
Glenn called me the other day. Our
doorman.
infamous doorman. We can't talk about all the funny
No.
things Glenn does
Yeah.
because it's X-rated. But Mr.
It's not.
Lee.
What we said was X-rated. Glenn is not X-rated. Glenn
Yes,
is
that's right.
an honorable gentleman.
Exactly.
But back to this family of design, we also we spread out in different ways. Like I believe you and Markham now are really good friends.
Not
And
really
you
good friends,
guys-
but I'm a huge admirer of Markham, and in
Yeah.
my fantasy, when I win Powerball, he decoraets, like it's either him or Tom Shearer or you decorate my house.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. But
It's a nice group.
You've done it beautifully. I mean, do you have more pictures of your house that you can post?
Yeah, I could.
Would you?
My gardens are starting to come out. We've had incredibly late spring up here. Where are you? Are you out east right now?
No, but I will be soon.
Oh, okay.
I had to go to a job site yesterday. I slept in New York, and then I had a different job site today, and then I'll go back out east.
Okay. So I'm up here on sort of the New York-Massachusetts border, and it's been a weirdly cold spring. So things are just starting to pop out over the last couple of weeks. But the house here, we live in a timber peg. It's not completely decorated. I feel like.
Do you want to give us a little?
No, it's messy.
Okay.
It's messy. It's a little messy.
All right, but it's beautiful. That's messy.
Yeah. I've hidden things to
yes.
As
one does.
Yeah.
Like you might not be wearing pants.
Pants are optional.
Always.
It's really about this up.
You live your normal job or your normal life is in Brooklyn.
It's in Brooklyn. Yes, we are in Greenpoint. Yeah.
How is your house here different from your house in Brooklyn? And will you post pictures of your place in Brooklyn?
Yeah. So you guys actually posted. So the place that's featured in 52 Weeks of Design with the floor to ceiling windows and that blue chair with the whippet. That's actually our apartment in Brooklyn. So Alexa and I used to live in this building in over by the river, and we had these kind of amazing, well, you still do, these amazing casement windows that overlook the 59th Street Bridge and the East River. And I love that about that apartment. And it was one of the things that I was going to miss the most when we moved.
Right.
But we ended up moving to this incredible building
with even bigger windows.
With floor to ceiling casement style windows with the most incredible view of the East River. and the New York City skyline. So, I do miss the hustle and bustle of our old neighborhood, but Greenpoint is very much, it's still kind of in many ways, it's still a very old Polish neighborhood with Polish butchers and Polish restaurants and Polish bakers.
You must be in heaven.
It's incredible. The butchers are particularly incredible. But then there's also a lot of new construction now. So it's starting to, I don't want to say it's like Williamsburg, but you're getting the sense that it's starting to get much taller. And that whole waterfront, I think every inch of New York City waterfront will be developed within the next 10 years because it's so prime.
Sure. Well, that is if people want to live in New York after the pandemic.
I know. It's something that James and I debate a lot. And I think
you can't just disappear. You have
to. No. I think what this whole situation has taught people, and not just New Yorkers, but I was just reading a piece yesterday in the Times about the percentages of people who are leaving cities since the pandemic. And San Francisco actually has the highest. Almost 10% of San Francisco residents have left the city. But I think what people are realizing is just because you leave doesn't mean you're no longer connected. I think with work and high-speed internet and the fact that we're doing an Instagram Live and you're on the side of a road in your car.
I'm sweating. I had to turn off the air conditioning.
Yeah, I think this is
so loud. I'm like,
I think this is proof that you can pretty much work anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I think, people, I think it's not about necessarily leaving New York or leaving LA or leaving San Francisco, or whatever. It's just like trying to find a way to kind of be happy, be safe, and be productive. Everyone wants to know where you are.
I'm in my car. in
so Larchmont. Obvious.
I'm in Larchmont.
In Larchmont. So yeah, don't you feel the same way with with the kids and homeschooling? Wasn't it like nuts?
It was, yeah. My heart goes out to all teachers on earth to be caught in the middle of this crisis and with fear, and then have to deal with snapping to. Anyway, we're digressing. Hard digression.
Yeah.
But I really would love it if you would. I'm swinging back hard. If you would post the Berkshire's house and the Brooklyn house.
Yes, I will.
Because it's so inspiring to see designers or to see people of great style like yourself who live very specifically in one fashion, in one way, and then what they're missing and yearn for because they don't have it in the one place, that they get to do it in the other place.
Yes. Yeah.
And to see, I know you're a huge collector of photography, to see what continues, where the through lines are, and what gets to change in different contexts.
Yeah. I think New York for us, and unless you live in one of these giant palatial apartments, you really have to be very disciplined with what you can have. And our apartment in Brooklyn is slightly larger than our old apartment, but the way the rooms are arranged, you can't really have that much stuff. New York City living requires you to curate and edit and be really
thoughtful. Not sure I'm there with you.
Yeah, no, you on the other hand.
The Hampton family feels fine with
Well, you were very lucky to be able to kind of join. And you're
and they're all very small apartments. Every time I say this, it sounds like I have some craziness. Yeah. I have a very nice sized apartment now because it's 3 little apartments pulled together.
And I think the thing about our building is, or my old building, your building, is while the living spaces were quite large, I had a massive living room. My living room was like your living room. But when you look at the bedrooms, they're not that big.
No, but we are New Yorkers.
Exactly.
We're used to this.
Yeah.
When I go out to work or when you as global brand president
Yeah.
for Ralph Lauren Home,
Yeah.
is the Ralph Lauren furniture line. Very big pieces.
Huge.
Very big
Yeah.
scale.
Yeah.
But we as New Yorkers are very, and people might think, oh, they're in design.
Yeah.
They live this way or that way. Like,
No.
we live tiny and we're cool with that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with it. I'm at
Yeah.
peace with it. I
Yeah.
have fantasies, but they're fantasies.
Yeah. I mean, it's also amazing, like visiting New York City apartments of very stylish people, and I'm always amazed at the clever tricks that they have to use in order to squeeze, like to make a decent looking room out of what is really just a shoebox. And that's where you really see the magic.
What are the characteristics of a decent room, according to William Lee?
Oh,
the
God.
personification of hip elegance, according to Reichel.
I think the key is comfort, right? So I think the first and foremost, it's
the
comfort.
Key is cheese, William.
The key is what?
Cheese.
Cheese.
William
we'll get to that.
Cheese, everybody. We'll talk about it soon.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
The key is comfort. And what does comfort mean to you?
I feel like, it's not even I was going to say scale, but sometimes really grand rooms can feel comfortable. I think there's an overall feeling when you walk into a comfortable room where things are arranged in a way that you immediately feel at ease. The seating arrangements are quite friendly. Like there's just like a friendly, tactile, likable vibe.
A welcome.
Yeah. And I'm not, I think it's a more kind of ephemeral thing, like comfort you sort of sense. Whereas some rooms you walk in and you absolutely feel like, oh, okay, well, this type of room, no one's hanging out in, but, you might do X, Y, Z in this room. I don't
What would X, Y, and Z be?
Oh, I don't know.
Entertain, have a benefit?
Or like okay, so I've spent a lot of time in Russia.
I love Russia.
As have you, yeah.
Love Russia.
And you've spent a lot of time in China as well. So, okay, so internationally, in homes, there are absolutely rooms that the family hangs out in. And then there are these weird rooms where people entertain, but it's not like they entertain their friends or their family. It's like they entertain like business people. So in Russia, there are oftentimes rooms that sort of are near the front of the house that are places.
It's like a throne room, right?
Or like a super awkward place where you have like a business coffee and like you sign documents, but like nothing else really happens.
So you say to your architect, I'd like a super awkward room, please,
yes,
in the front for document signing.
They basically say that, yeah. It's like where you want people to come in and feel like they're in your home, but they're actually nowhere near your home.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, that's a very kind of Russian thing of a certain class.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, a parlor says chinoiserie too.
Exactly.
Yeah, a reception room.
I think comfort is, you sort of know it when you see it, right? So, Alexa, you must know a guy named Timo Callahan.
Of course I know Timo. Speaking of people I grew up with, grew up with Timo Callahan, listening to the Brandenburg Concertos piped through Clarence House.
Yes.
As I wore 6-inch heels and miniskirts and it was before I discovered food.
Well, Timo, I bring up Timo because years and years and years ago, Timo invited me up to his apartment for a drink before dinner, and he lived
in Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen. Have you been there?
Yeah,
the apartment?
I have been once, a long time ago.
Okay.
I mean, that if I'm thinking of the right place, very westerly.
Yeah, very. It's like between 10th and 11th or 9th and 10th.
It's like I don't remember. Brownstone. It's a thin building. Yeah, I've been there.
Tiny apartment.
And chic as shit.
Beyond. Chicest. So, like, one of the chicest apartments I've ever seen anywhere. And one of the most comfortable apartments. And it's like all smoke and mirrors, like how you figure out how to deal with awkward little rooms. And, this room has no light. This room faces a brick wall. But somehow it kind of all comes together. But he's When I think about comfortable rooms, I think of that room, or I think of like Bunny's giant great room
In the country.
yeah,
Yeah. But
things like that, or your
what
living
you're,
room, frankly, in the city. Yeah,
yes, thank you.
yeah,
But what you said about, like the tricks you go that one has to alight upon to create a sense of comfort in a room. Oh, Trudy Crock just called it an interrogation room or reception.
kind of.
It's kind of.
Yeah,
Um, but what was I saying? I just totally lost my train of thought.
the
Oh,
tricks.
is that you go to like the Johnstone Museum and you see with the use of skylights and mirrors, that has been the hallmark of good design.
Right.
And I obviously love the Sun Museum. Forever, it's finding those like impossible situations.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go to the Hermitage, you're not like, wow, it's super cozy.
Right.
Love love to have a place just like this. Though I
That
probably
museum's
would.
incredible. That St. Peter's, the Hermitage is incredible, but the St. Petersburg, I had no idea. I was there a couple of years ago. I had no idea what to expect. It is jaw-droppingly beautiful.
It is jaw-droppingly
Yeah,
beautiful.
one of the most beautiful places in the world.
And it is, to my city dwellers, even more. I went when I was 17, so it was Perestroika,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and it's
wow.
much more beautiful now.
Yeah.
And I was trying to put my finger on like, why do I feel comfortable here when I really, really didn't feel comfortable then.
Yeah.
And I realized that the light had changed because no, I don't even mean natural light. I mean, the ground floor of buildings, like in New York, had become commercial retail spaces.
Yes.
Where when I was there, it was all just building. So
Right.
you had no sense of city life.
Right.
And
interesting.
It's just totally different.
Yeah.
You went from, stone to the ground to a ground floor of shops everywhere, like in Paris, like in New York, like in any city.
Yeah.
And it actually made me happier, but maybe that's just because I'm a horrible city person. I'm a cityite, as my mother would call me.
That's what they call us up here sometimes when I ask stupid questions at the garden center.
I think lots of people refer to cityites in lots of places.
Yeah. I avoid hardware stores for fear of saying something really idiotic.
So let me ask you a little bit about luckyrice.com.
Yes.
Because I've only discovered it now.
Yeah.
And it is something that are you the president of that, or you're the...
I'm the executive director.
Yeah. So tell everybody about that.
So Lucky Rice is a culture, media, food organization founded 10 years ago by my dear friend Danielle Chang. And it was founded 10 years ago really as a food festival to highlight the incredible broad world of Asian food. And I know that probably sounds crazy at this point because we've come so far in terms of people's taste levels. Mm-hmm. But 10 years ago, it was really not very common to find Cambodian food or Indonesian food or Burmese food. There was your standard Chinese, Japanese, maybe a little bit Korean.
Or Chinese American.
Exactly.
Or American
Chinese. What Danielle... Which is always good too. La Choi makes Chinese food irresistible. I think that's the jingle. But Danielle's idea was really simple, and that was to bring incredible chefs from both the Western and Asian worlds together to cook Asian food in cities around the country and just bring more exposure to Asian culture. Exactly. Highlight the breadth, bring a better understanding of Asian culture and Asian food through these festivals. And over the last 10 years, it's evolved. We still do big kind of tastings and cocktail events, but we're also doing a lot of smaller tasting dinners with chefs around the country. We have a couple planned this fall throughout October, actually.
I'm trying to raise my eyebrows up and down, suggesting that I want to be invited, but I'm heavily Botoxed, so I cannot, in fact, emote.
Are you? Along with your magnetic lashes?
Along with my magnetic lenses. Yeah, I'm totally Botoxed. My forehead it's just here, but it's good.
There's a very particular spokesperson for the current president of the United States who recently just
Oh
had
yeah,
some,
I saw her facelift, and I was like,
yeah.
"Who did that? That was good work."
And it happened so quickly, and there's like no scarring. I want what she had.
I think we all wish we'd gotten the memo about quarantine
Yeah,
a little bit earlier. Like, at the very least, I could have done like anything that one can't ever find time to do, like a laser,
totally,
so you can walk around
totally.
with a pulpy red bloody face. Okay,
Oh,
again,
she got it. She recovered, and she's back
and she's
in
back.
3 months.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah. So Lucky Rice, and the website is, as Alexa says, luckyrice.com. You can find out about the events that we're doing around the
yeah.
country. But it's an incredible organization that just sort of tries to foster better understanding of Asian American culture uh, through the lens of food,
Yeah.
which is the
Do
ultimate
you?
lens.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess it incorporates so many things. It's so
Yeah,
many of the senses.
yeah.
When you do these events, does your design self get involved?
Um, for some of the smaller dinners, yes. How the table should look, etc. Decor. Danielle also loves design too, so the two of us have great fun together when it comes to decor, particularly for our Chinese New Year events where there's, it feels really, really festive. We did one this past January with
How
these
important
big.
how important is it to have beautiful design around you when you eat? I will say, listen, I will say that Lucky Chow is a beautiful show.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
I love David Chang's Ugly Delicious. I love
Yeah,
cooking shows. I don't
yeah,
cook, Pablo's
yeah,
does,
yeah,
but for some reason I love cooking shows. So
yeah.
Ugly Delicious, I love, but and I love Chef's Table.
Oh, me too.
And Lucky Chow is like nicely in between.
Oh,
It's
thank
not
you.
tweezer. It doesn't put the
Yeah,
twee in tweezer,
yeah,
but it's not like rough and tumble the
yeah,
way Ugly Delicious is. And
yeah.
you know what it reminds me of? It reminded me of salt, acid. What's that?
Fat heat.
Yeah. It
Salt, fat, acid, heat. Yeah.
has that same authentic voice.
Oh, thank you so much. Um, you know, Thank you for saying that. We tried hard to sort of make it feel authentic and not feel authentic. We just tried hard to be authentic. So
Because
there,
you on a tractor feels so right.
I mean, the outfit changes for like, what does one wear on a tractor? Oh, this is the tractor scene. So put on a chambray shirt. Look rugged.
I love that you say chambray. I would have just said a jeans shirt, but how right you
Chambray.
are. Um,
Um,
so
but
that look, that
I
sensibility is important to the experience of your food. That design aspect is critical.
yeah, I think design is always critical for food, and I think that for me, most of the time, I don't really set a fancy table. If it's just James and I or friends coming over, but the napkins are iron,
Oh,
the plates are pretty, everything. I mean, it
yeah.
looks. You want it to. I feel like design, most importantly, particularly when you're sitting down, when you set the table. For me, I'm setting it for myself. It's like a way for me to say, I'm appreciating this moment. I'm valuing this
Mhm.
moment. I'm appreciating this food,
Right.
and that I
You're
just,
acknowledging.
yeah, like, just take a moment. It's really one of the easiest things that anyone can do
But
every day.
I like blowing up that thought to design generally. Like, acknowledge the moment. Acknowledge. I mean, that's a
Exactly.
great. You're sitting down after a day of work. You do want that calm, that beauty, that whatever.
Right. And even if it's like, if you're pouring yourself a drink, choose a really
Which I
nice
am
glass.
frequently.
Yeah. Choose your favorite glass. Choose a super pretty glass.
Mhm.
Garnish it with a slice of lemon, but make that slice of lemon pretty. Like, it's just nice.
Mhm.
And it doesn't take a lot of time, and it
And
just
why
makes it
have
feel
the nice
special.
stuff and not use them?
Exactly.
My mother was always very adamant, like that. She told me, like, if somebody gives you silver for your wedding,
Yeah.
use it. It won't tarnish if you're using it. Like,
And it looks
use it.
better when you use it.
Hmm. But it does, like, it's kind of a relief not to have your ambitious stuff and then you're not, that's like, then
Yeah.
you're required to have two sets of everything.
Right.
It's nice to find like what you feel comfortable using daily.
Absolutely. And why shouldn't we have beauty on a daily basis?
Should.
Right?
But we should also have cheese. Can you tell everybody who's watching, and more people will be watching this because this is a strange and crazy thing. You said you don't like cheese, and yet you are the
No.
co-host of a
Yeah.
cooking
So here's
show
the thing.
or food show.
Asian people, a large percent of Asian people are actually lactose intolerant.
Right.
So for me, so two things. I didn't grow up eating cheese. There's no cheese in the Chinese diet. There's very little dairy, in fact. And actually, I would
Why?
venture to say
Well,
there's
cows just
almost
not around?
there's no dairy in Cantonese food. Almost no. I mean, I can't actually think of any dairy. There's soy milk and soy products, but
And
in
you
some of
said
the
you didn't like
Western
the
regions,
texture, right? And I
no, I
feel like
don't like. So okay,
tofu sometimes has a cheesy texture.
yes, firmer tofu has a cheesy texture, but for me, it's also because I didn't grow up with it, because I'm also lactose intolerant.
Oh,
Um,
I'm
just
so sorry.
the idea of cheeses, I also find very. I don't
Like
know.
the way other people are worried about mayonnaise.
Oh, I love mayonnaise.
No, but I have friends who are like, it. Look at the consistency. It doesn't need
Yeah,
to be refrigerated. Something
yeah.
is
No,
afoot.
cheese for me, I find like particularly moldy cheese, I find incredibly revolting. Nothing scares me more than a cheese board or a cheese course. Like it's just like terrifying. Now, having said that, I have an incredible sense of smell,
Mm-hmm.
and even though I don't eat cheese, from smelling cheese and understanding kind of by smelling the cheese, I can pretty much understand what it tastes like, and I'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to pair things with it, but I would never eat it myself.
Wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's very interesting, but still entirely wrong.
Yeah.
I
But
just
I
want
mean,
you to
I
know I
love
don't agree.
karaoke. I love karaoke,
You sure
which is
do. I have
not
never done it.
okay. How is that possible? Because you're actually the queen of karaoke. How is that possible you've never done it?
How am I the queen of karaoke? You mean just because I'm a attention-seeking loud person?
Okay, Alexa
Don't
Hampton with a
pigeonhole me.
microphone singing I Will Survive is something that I think we all live for. Someone wants you to lock your doors.
Yeah, I'd like to open my windows. What I'd like to do. Who's going to
The
attack me? I'm in a very nice neighborhood.
air conditioning was not noisy, by the way. Not
Did you
to.
hear it?
That's
Did you
fine.
hear it? No, no,
No.
no.
Is it
Hold
on?
on. I'll put it on. This is officially the weirdest.
Listen, we have to make do. We're
Am I
people on
getting
the
too shiny?
go.
Um. So I want to know. Is Lucky Chow? Do you know if you're getting more seasons? I mean, it's the fourth season.
Yeah, so so Danielle and I actually just had a conversation this morning about season 5. So we're
Uh-huh.
going to start working on that. And a lot of our show depends on travel. So
Right.
we have to figure
Right.
out
Be
when that's
safe.
going to happen
Um.
and be safe. Exactly.
Since you were in 52 weeks of
Yeah.
design, and because
Yeah.
you're a design aficionado,
Yes.
and there was radio. Um, I think you should incorporate into Lucky Chow the table settings that you're discussing. Like in each place, they should let you set the table with their things, and
Yeah.
we should see the many beautiful iterations of the table through
Yeah.
William Lee, style mavens.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So, I mean, I would love to do that. And I think that, Danielle and I could create a lot of beautiful, stylish tables of our own. But what's really nice
No, but
about visiting some of these homes of,
sorry.
right, exactly. To see how people just eat on a daily basis, I just think is a very beautiful thing when the plates aren't totally matching and
Mhm.
everything sort of feels haphazard, but yet again, going back to this idea of comfort, this notion of just feeling like everything feeling like home. And I think that's what we try to capture in the show as well.
Can I ask you a little bit what you think Asian design might be? Now, let's stick with your background and not
Yeah.
try and take the whole continent.
Yeah.
What are
So
some hallmarks of design that you feel you identify with um,
so
I don't think it's the Formosa, which I loved, and I appreciated
no.
them saying that they were concerned that they would be called cultural appropriators
Yeah.
or making it kids. But I love the way that looked. But it is in California and Hollywood.
Yeah, that sort of
It's perfect
Hollywood
for what it
chinoiserie
was.
is a thing of its own. I
Yeah,
think for me,
yeah,
there's
like
a
Hollywood
lot.
Regency, sure.
I mean, I think a lot of great design is happening throughout Asia now,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in China, where there's just so much building going on. But
And their modern design, in particular, is
exactly,
really
exactly.
exciting.
So
The
what?
textures, the materials. It's such a material wealthy
Exactly.
country.
Exactly. So what I particularly, and this is like two podcasts here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's happening in contemporary design in Asia right now, the way it borrows heavily from a very elegant, serene, almost minimalistic aesthetic, and
Mm-hmm.
how it's now being adapted into a more modern world. Like, yes, the materials, absolutely, but also like the sense of proportion, like every Asian design is completely underrated. Asian decorative
Well,
arts
we haven't
is,
we all haven't been looking at it for so many years when it was
yeah,
closed. But
absolutely.
I think a lot of the modern design that I've seen in China, it's very modern, it's very of the moment, but it completely harkens back
Yeah,
to the huge historical
yeah,
vat
yeah,
of design and history.
yeah,
And you look at the Greek keys, you look at the things that you would see on a beautiful antique vase.
yeah,
It's in or the references to a koi fish or
yeah,
the scales,
yeah.
and it is both modern and absolutely eternal.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that also has to do with the fact that the Chinese, so speaking about the Chinese, um, they are incredibly, but also with the Japanese and the Koreans, they're incredibly proud of their heritage, and they absolutely
That's a shame.
understand that their decorative arts history is rich and vast and full of beautiful, beautiful things. So there's a lot to actually draw on, and it's nice to see them doing it in a way that feels
Our history,
are in Asia.
yeah. Um, though there are some really disgusting ones too
Yes,
that are clearly catering to like grotesque Westerners.
yes.
Like they they see us coming and they're like, you have all these hideous things. Here they are.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the most beautiful hotels in Asia is the Aman in Tokyo.
I have not. I've not been there. I have been to the Hyatt Regency. The Regency Hyatt is it the
The
Hyatt?
Grand Hyatt.
No, the one in Roppongi. And
Oh,
I've been to
oh
the
yes,
and
I
I've been to the
love
Grand
that one.
Hyatt.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
one's a
yeah.
great one.
Yeah, that's a beautiful hotel. Yeah.
Um,
I think everyone should go to Asia. There is just people who are in design, I mean, just going to
oh, you have to.
Tokyo alone or
It's like knowing
Kyoto.
your ABCs. How could you want to hear something crazy? My father never went.
Wow.
He went to India, but he
Okay.
never made it to China or Japan.
Wow.
Or Vietnam. He never saw Cambodia.
Yeah.
And my heart hurts for him.
Yeah. I feel like cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Tokyo, Seoul, Saigon, these should all be part of sort of the decorated grand tour. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's so
They
much
cannot
there.
be missed.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when we can all travel again, we were supposed to, James and I were supposed to go to Tokyo and the countryside this November for fall foliage. Now, have you ever, Tokyo or Kyoto during fall foliage?
I have, that's the only time I've been to Tokyo and Kyoto was then. And we also
Shockingly beautiful.
stayed. It was shockingly beautiful.
Yeah.
We went to, and I'm sure you'll know the spot that I'm talking about. It's a place where people would throw themselves off the mountain.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Like it's a suicide, so like a famous suicide spot. It was so unbelievably beautiful. I was like, yeah, if this was the last thing I saw, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a magical time.
Yeah. Somebody's saying getting their ticket to Asia post pandemic. Yeah.
Of
Now
course.
is the time for us to prepare for long haul trips, like to afford them, right?
Have you flown at all since this happened, Alexa?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on 20 flights in January.
Right.
And I have been on no flights since mid-March. Yeah.
Same.
March 13th was the last day I flew.
I can't imagine what it's going to be like, but you know, we have to do it. So, I mean, I love nothing more than traveling, and I love going to Asia. So, you know, we'll figure it out.
No, I mean, you've been everywhere, right?
I've been almost everywhere.
Antarctica, nobody needs you to have
Yeah.
been there. But in addition to Asia, where else do you love to travel over and over again?
Europe. I mean, so for me, if I could go to Italy every year, I would. I love Italy. Last year, I celebrated a big birthday in Puglia, which was incredible.
Thanks for the invitation.
But yeah, it was very small. A bunch of friends, and we rented a house there. But I love Italy so much. I also love Spain. France, I'm not as well traveled. France, I've been to the Loire Valley. I've been to Provence and Paris, but I don't feel like I really know France. I don't speak French. Not that I really speak very good Italian, but in Italy, you kind of feel like if you know Spanish, you can kind of get.
Sure, absolutely.
You can get over. France, I'd like to spend more time in. James wants to go to Scotland and Ireland, which I'm dying to do.
I don't think I've ever been to Scotland. What about other people are saying, like, do you love Mexico? What about
Turkey?
I
love Mexico.
Turkey's also like.
I love Turkey. I don't really know Turkey. I'm saying Istanbul, really.
I haven't traveled the breadth of Turkey by any stretch.
Exactly. So I've been to Istanbul a couple of times. I find it an amazing city. I love Mexico. I love Puerto Rico, particularly this little itty bitty island called Vieques, which is it's like a place where time has stood still. It was a former Navy base, so most of the beaches had been closed to the public for decades, and they opened them up about 10 years ago, and they have some of the prettiest beaches in the world. I love traveling everywhere, really. It's just to.
Whether it's food or design, it is so.
Yeah.
And in this particular moment where we're all very stressed about, rightfully, about understanding many cultures and not just our own, and growing and stretching and having empathy and respect.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like travel, whether true, like you get on a plane, or, you know, we're all, you know, freaking out about our businesses, whether it's virtual, it's critical.
Yes.
It's critically important to, and back to what you said about food being the only lens. I feel like watching Anthony Bourdain or watching a Lucky Chow makes me much more appreciative of the cultures I am unfamiliar with.
Yes, absolutely. It makes you feel. You know what? I'll say for me, it makes me feel more connected to humanity. Because you know, as you travel, at least for me, I feel like the world gets smaller, and as the world gets smaller, it feels good to me to know that,
like, that's just like you know, the places of worship, the place for community.
Oh, I always go to churches or mosques or temples or synagogues. That is such a crucial. So it's interesting you bring that up. No matter where I am, I try to visit the local market, the local food market.
If we get cut off, I'm calling you back.
Yeah, and the local, and a church, a synagogue, a temple, whatever, because those are ultimately, you know, the things that are the most telling.
Everything we need to know. Though it's interesting, I was reading a poem that somebody posted the other day, that said the revolution will not be colonized.
Mm.
And when I do think of, I have a big history of going to church, though I'm not religious at all, but I'm
Yeah.
going to churches to see the
Yeah.
architecture and
Yeah.
stuff. That there is that aspect. When I went to Vietnam,
Yeah.
looking at the French churches, and I had much more fun going to the Vietnamese houses of worship. And,
Yeah.
because they didn't feel foisted upon
Yeah. But
a culture.
even with like French churches in Vietnam or whatever, it's understanding colonialism was a thing, and in some places still
Sure.
is a thing. Um, and seeing that those cultures kind of come together in many ways, I think is also very
Has
beautiful.
value.
Yeah, and you just have to understand. It's nice to understand the context in which those things came together, and sometimes the context is not pretty, but the result of it is,
Yes, especially back to the French church in Vietnam. It was
Yeah.
painted a bright yellow.
Yeah.
That, of course, it would be painted that because of the
Right.
sunlight in Vietnam,
Right,
and
right.
the palette and
Yeah.
the materials available.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see how it had been reimagined in the setting in which it was.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Look, hello, Will.i.am, handsome fella.
Oh.
Look, it is 1:57.
Yes.
So I should probably let you go, but
Thank you.
I want to ask you something. I
Yes.
want you, please, because people, we all know you in the world of design, and those
Yeah.
who don't know you want to know you. Could you post on your Instagram handle is
William Lee LINYC. So William LINYC.
So you changed it.
Yeah, I'll post some
Of your place in
Yeah,
Brooklyn
I will.
and in
I
the
will.
country.
I will.
Because especially now that you're on television, we're getting, people who don't know you get to know you.
Yeah.
This is a huge piece of your puzzle, your design sensibility.
Thank you.
That will give people information about who you are.
Thank you, Alexa, and thank you for featuring me. I'm being part of this group of Your 52. It's like nerve-wracking. It's like all these amazing.
No, I'm glad there are not more weeks in the year, because this is a hell of a year. It's a terrible year. But and hopefully will not be, an isolated period of change will continue. But I could go on and on and on with people I admire who have style, who have design sense, and you're definitely a biggie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Safe driving.
You. Aren't you glad I pulled over and didn't do it while in motion?
Can you imagine?
Likes to kill herself and others. No. All right. Love you, William. Thank you.
Love you too. Thank you so much.
Go watch Lucky Chow. You will not be disappointed.
LuckyChow.org. Take care.
LuckyChow.org.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.